Okay, well, Bill Murray just has a ton of twos surrounding him. So, I kind of looked, and I watched the 1988 movie Scrooged with him in it, just to look for stuff, whatever. But right here it says he's a regular collaborator with Wes Anderson. And I also watched this movie, which hopefully I'll do a decode sometime tonight if I get the time. But Wes Anderson, and of course, he is 45 years old. So anyway, before I even get into that movie, I just chose it because of 1988. But before I get into there, let's just look at Bill Murray a little bit. So, he got his acting start on Second City, so a 2. And then it says in 1974 he moved to New York City and was recruited by John Belushi. And John Belushi was born in 1949, died age 33. Then it talks about Saturday Night Live, and it says he officially joined the cast of NBC's Saturday Night Live for the show's second season following the departure of Chevy Chase. So, Second City was his acting career starter. Then he was on the second season of Saturday Night Live, and he was on Saturday Night Live because Chevy Chase was born on October 8th, which is 8/8. It says he landed his first starring role in the film Meatballs in 1979. Meatballs came out June 29th, 1979. Now on my little graph, June 29th is, if you add June and then do 20 as the word and 9th as the word, it adds up to 222. And 79 is the 22nd prime number. So then his second starring role was he portrayed Hunter S. Thompson in Where the Buffalo Roam. And Hunter S. Thompson was born in 1937, which talked about millions of times now. But he died on February 20th, which is 2/20. And if you leave out the zeros, because I don't use zeros, it's actually 2/2. And Hunter S. Thompson also died at age 67, which I noticed a few 67s with Bill Murray too. So not quite sure where that's going, but if you come up here, it says that his dad died of diabetes. Yeah, his father died in 1967 from complications of diabetes when he was 17 years old. He also became the first guest on NBC's Late Night with David Letterman. So he was the first guest on the David Letterman show on February 1st. So second month, first day. Let's check out David Letterman. Oh yeah, and David Letterman is 67 years old. It says Murray began work on a film adaptation of the novel The Razor's Edge. And this book came out in 1944. And it also says there was 2 film adaptations of it. The first one was in 1946, and the second one was in 1984, starring Bill Murray. So he was in the second adaptation of that book. Then, I know him mostly for Ghostbusters, probably, I don't know, just for my age or whatever, but Ghostbusters where I know him from the most. And Ghostbusters came out on 6/7/1984, so another 67. And 6/7 is also the 158th day, which breaks down to 79 plus 79, and 79 is the 22nd prime number. So 2222. And then you also had the 67. Okay, I just want to move on to the movie so I don't run out of time. But so right in the very beginning here, you have Bob Goulet. And if you look at Bob Goulet, he died age 73. Then right after that, they show Leave It to Beaver Christmas episode. And Leave It to Beaver actually originally ran from October 4th, which huge 88 day. And it stopped in 1963, which is the year Michael Jordan was born. And I've talked about how that goes with the 88. So 88 plus 1776 plus 88 plus 88 is 1952. And 19, if you're 52, you were born in 63. And then the character of Beaver is actually played by this guy, Jerry Mathers. On the show, he was actually 8 years old, too. That's what I thought was interesting. And also, it says he's from Sioux City, Iowa, which I just find that interesting because I live really close to Sioux City, Iowa. And when I look up a lot of these old famous actors and whatnot, I always find Iowa people. And you'd never imagine that, I guess. And on the movie here, they actually mentioned Wally Beaver. And the guy who plays Wally Beaver was Tony Dow, and he was born in 1945. So 45 with the Valentine's Day, and then he's 69, 45 years ago. He's also been acting since 1949, so 45, 49. And April 13th is actually the 103rd day. 103 is the 27th prime, and 27 years ago was 1988. And right here, so Bill Murray works for like a TV network, and they're going to do a remake of Scrooged or whatever. So that's what the whole movie is about. And then it's the whole Charles Dickens story, and he gets visited by the ghosts and all that. But what happens here, it says something about international terrorism, and then it has a plane. I'm just going to play the video. I turn the sound off. And then the plane blows up. I mean, this came out in 1988, so I don't know. I mean, it's not necessarily a 9/11 reference, but it's just, international terrorism and a plane blowing up. It's somewhat of a, a foreshadow. And it's Christmas Eve, and right here he fires this Elliot guy, and he says 4 minutes and 40 seconds, which is 88 times 5, or it could be a 44 reference. And then in a minute here, he asks this lady how many fingers Mrs. Claus has, and she says 11. And then she says 11, and then he grabs this piece of paper from her and he crumbles it up. So 11, 11, which is 22. Also, in this movie, Bill Murray's character is Francis Xavier Cross, or Frank Cross. And I made a video a long time ago about Frank being Lucifer. And he's sort of competing for his job with this guy who is actually played by William Dafoe. And I talked about him being Frank and Antichrist and everything else in a ton of movies. So it's just kind of funny that his name is Frank Cross. And this guy was like super big and all of that. So, and really funny here too that they have this big sun thing right in the background when they first meet each other. And I mean, so it's around Christmas. It's a Christmas themed movie, right? And isn't Christmas, it's not really about Jesus, it's actually about the birth of the sun. Right here he tells her that she has to work late with him, and she's like, it's Christmas Eve, and I made this appointment 2 months ago, so another 2. I'm not sure of the complete significance of what they're doing here. I know his name's Cross, Frank Cross, but as he's going back into his office, it says up on the ceiling here, Cross, a thing they nail people to. And then right here, his brother talks about him firing that guy before, and he says, you know what they say about kicking a man when he's down or whatever, and then he says, yeah, you can treat them just as badly on their way back up or whatever. That means you get 2 chances. There's also a decent amount of dog references. This guy gets fired, and then he gets splashed with water while he's trying to drink his liquor, and he yells at the cab, "You stinky dog." Right here, the taxi says 5E54, so that's 55, 54, and then the taxi guy says it's 485, and he says, here's 5. And 55 is Satan, and 54 is the mirror of Valentine's Day. It's actually adds up to love as well. Even his old boss here, he talks about how he died on the 14th hole, so Valentine's Day, 14th, and he died of a heart attack. Then his ex-girlfriend calls him, and her name is Claire Phillips. And Phillips was big with the 88s and whatnot. Philip Seymour Hoffman also died on 2/2/22. Interesting here, though, it shows her number. It says 212-674-7733, I believe is what it says. Weird, because 674 is literally the area code of a town that I live right next to. Or not actual area code, I can't think of what this other code is, but it's 712-674. So, I don't know, it's just pretty strange, I guess, that they'd actually put a real number in here. I mean, I don't know if it's a real number, but a real number that you would potentially be able to call. And it happens to be like about 10 miles away. So then the first ghost takes him back to 1955. That's the first place he goes. Same year as Doc Brown discovered time travel. So the ghost takes him to his family, and his dad's giving him crap when in. His mom says he's only 4 years old. If he was 4 years old in 1955, that means in 1988, he would have been 37 years old. And there's a ton of 15 references. Earlier when he talked to her on the phone, he said he hadn't talked to her in 15 years. And then he tries to glorify his life, and he says something about running down the hills, there was flowers everywhere, there was a girl, she's like 15. So he says something about the girl 15, and then he says that was the Little House on the Prairie. And it was the Homecoming episode. And that episode is actually the 4th episode, which the production code was 10-4, which 10-4-88. He also says he wasted 15 years of his life watching TV. Then he's walking and he hits his head. It's showing him when he's first meeting Claire Phillips. And he walks into a door that says 1922 on it. So 22. And here he's reading a book and he says, there's a place that if you touch a woman, it'll make her bark like a dog. And then she starts barking. Then it takes him to 1971 where he actually was Frisbee the dog. So just more love and Lupercalia references with the dog. Frisbee also adds up to 71, and he takes him to 1971. Then he finally goes back to the future, and they say something about him being crazy, and he says, yeah, I'm crazy like a fox. And, of course, fox adds up to 45. Also, like, he's like cunning, because a fox isn't crazy. That's what he's getting at. That foxes aren't crazy. They're actually kind of sneaky and whatnot. Then he goes to the homeless shelter where Claire works, and this guy says it's cocktail hour, and he pulls out his pocket watch. And it looks to me like it's on 1:18, which, of course, is 88. Another one of the homeless people here is the mom on the Goonies, and she died age 59 on August 11th, 1988. So 8/11/88. So 88, 88, age 59. And then he's Frank, and 59 and 55 go with the Satan, Antichrist, Frank. And once again, it's funny to me because she was born in Omaha, Nebraska. And it's like, I live really close to there too, so it's just so weird. And then right here he finds that homeless guy frozen underneath the deal that the ferry or whatever leaves him under. And his watch says 2:20, so 22. And then he says, maybe I should have loaned you that $2, huh? And he starts laughing. And kind of funny too that so the guy that he fired in the beginning of the movie comes back to shoot him with the shotgun, and he says, "Hello, Rabbit," ha ha ha. And he says, he acts like Bugs Bunny, and he says, "Will you give me a running chance or whatever?" So they do a little Looney Tunes thing in there. It's just kind of funny because like a lot of this has to do with Space Jam, and then he was 22 in Space Jam. And then right here he's in a hallway, a triangle-shaped hallway. I mean, it's kind of weird. Why is he in a triangle-shaped hallway? All right, I'm just going to end it right there. I actually kept falling asleep a bunch of times when I was watching this. Just wanted to show all the twos. But there's plenty more twos with Bill Murray that hopefully I'll get out soon. But, yeah, but anyway, just have a great night. And like I said, I have a whole bunch more stuff that maybe I'll actually even mention a few extra things that I might have forgot or whatever. So, anyway, yep, bye.